Awesome. Let's call the meeting to order. I call the meeting to order. Next, has everyone had a chance to review the agenda?
Here comes Jen.
Awesome.
I'll make a terrible first impression. My apologies.
Okay, Jen, you're on. We just
Scott called the meeting to order and you walked the door.
I was going to change the agenda around because you were not here, and I can do whatever I want.
Well, maybe I should let you feel free to do that.
No, I
have no power, I can't.
But now I'm going to turn over the meeting.
Okay.
Well, actually, you get to sit down, take a breath. Okay, give me a second. And we all in favor? Aye. Super. Has everyone had an opportunity to review this June meeting minutes of the June meeting? Yes.
Yes.
Do we have any comment or changes?
Since I thought the meeting was like, so if I did, I had that.
You need to change the calendar.
I can't make, I don't know what it is.
Did everyone make introductions past night?
No, well, I. No,
All right. We should do that as well.
that could be item 2 because we don't have an item 2.
See, look at that. Oh my gosh.
We don't have much space. But
I've got computers, to the right of me, to the left of me, so I'm.
Are we gonna adopt these?
Exactly, there is a.
I motion to adopt.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Apparently it's unanimous. I will hand the meeting over to you and you handle introduction.
Okay. Why don't we go around the table, we'll introduce ourselves and we'll allow you to introduce yourself, Deborah. I'll give the preview of Deborah. This is our prospective new board member that I've been speaking so highly of.
This is merely a preview of myself, not my actual self. Thank you.
I don't have my computer up, so that's where I had your resume, so I'll let you speak to the specifics of it. I would just say you have a very impressive history with involvement with nonprofits and development, so I already have had many wonderful discussions and ideas and things to share, so. But we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. So Jen Peabody, I'm president of the board, and usually not late, but sorry about that. I caught on a call. And I've been on the board, I think 3 years, I believe. I'm sorry.
Seems like a long time.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
It's just you accomplish so much.
No, I just mean it's the backbone of the library on campus.
Deborah.
Hi. Me too.
I've been more targeted at the library for 12 years. Yeah,
Nice.
around there, 12. For the past, not 5, 6, somewhere around there. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm Richard, I'm the treasurer. I also have been a board member for about a little bit under a year.
Sarah Johnson, secretary, and I'm ashamed to say I don't know how long I've been a board member, but I figure if you've been 3, I've been at least 4, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Or approaching 4 at least, yeah.
I'm Scott Miner. I don't recall how long I've been on. But if Sarah's been on the board for 4 years, then I've been on the board for at least both those.
You're in your second term, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the terms and it was confusing me because
Yeah, the term.
I thought it was the first term. And I was going, seemed like a really long term.
I think you might be almost 8.
No, because he just last year was the renewal,
Well over 8
second term, so.
Oh, okay, all right.
in any event. I'm vice president here.
Yeah.
I'm Kim, we know each other.
We're
I've been
good.
here longer than Richard, but less than anybody else.
She makes really good coffee.
I'm Ari. I have
been on board longer than you actually.
This is
Yeah,
this
I
is
think,
like
Yeah. think
I
it's
know.
for me.
board
Yeah.
twister or
Yeah, it
something,
feels like
yeah.
that. Yeah, it's a little over a year, I guess. I don't know. So we're not good at keeping track of that, but I'm do the youth commission,
Okay.
and keep time during the meetings.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
The official timekeeper.
well, we're working on it, but I do keep time. I just don't necessarily tell everyone what time it is. That's why I haven't figured out a good system, but
She knows when we're in her ears.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm Deborah, Deborah Edison, and recently moved to Stephentown, retired. You really said it. Oh, that was a very good summation. So I work nonprofits all my life. I've been a chief development officer or leader of fundraising for nonprofits for well over 30 years, 35 years. Oh my God. And I've always worked, had the privilege to work for organizations that just felt really deeply about. I started out in the AIDS HIV arena back in the day in New York City, did that for 15 years in that area. Both my parents worked with kids, so I did that for a long time. Foster youth, homeless youth, worked with low-income seniors, and my last job was working with homeless populations struggling with substance use and mental illness. Just easy things like that. I had the privilege of living on an incredible island in the Puget Sound for about 7 years, I think. And the library, and it was really an island. There was no bridge, like you had to take a boat. And the library was so incredibly important to that community. It was a gathering place. It was a place for community. Of knowledge. It was just, it made a huge difference in terms of our connection to that island and the people on it. So I was just so thrilled when we moved here to see what a vibrant, vital space this is. So it's really great to be here. I hope I can help. I'm retired, you know. There you go.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. And again,
Thrilled to
apologies
be here.
for showing. for your
I thought
first
you had
meeting.
locked me out, actually. What's going on? I don't know the password.
All right, so we will start the meeting, or we already started the meeting, we'll start with some reports. The planning calendar, I have a lot of this is really going to be covered in the report, but still over a couple highlights. So coming up, well, I think pretty much everything is going to be covered in another report. So for August, everything that's coming up, I know deadlines and events. So I will mention though that in September 13th is the next Upper Hudson core trustee training. So I think, did you take that last night?
I did,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, so I think maybe Tim's taken it. Richard, did you take it?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really quite a good training session. So it's virtual though, right?
No, I don't think so. I think that's the word.
Oh, there's a virtual. I mean, that's good. I think they did.
From what I recall.
Okay.
Nice to meet people in person.
So, well, that's the highlights. The other stuff we'll cover in more detail as we go through. Unless anybody has any questions or new items.
It's 15 or 30, sorry.
So we'll turn it over to Kim for the director's report. Everybody has handouts, right?
So many, I don't think.
So
Director's report, so I've got a lot of additions to the upcoming library programs. This isn't enough of a list.
It's amazing considering how long it is, look at that.
It's kind of making for the not doing quite as much during because of summer camps this month. Calendar. So we have all these different things. Obviously, well, actually, some of these already happened. Library time is going to be next tomorrow for the kids at summer camp. So we'll be reading to the groups 1 and 2. Book club happened already. Lego club happened today. We actually are going to and we're postponing the summer games team night because I just could not get it together to plan it well enough. So we're gonna do a big one on the 25th for the end of summer reading team night. It's gonna be with the fire department's gonna come and the kids are gonna actually try to be able to test out or do some of the water things. And then we'll do, water balloons.
And that's August 20th, right?
August 20th, yeah.
The weather for tomorrow night doesn't look good anyway. So
No.
So, yeah, and I mean, it's really a space issue and because outside is terrible right now and in here, this is where we have most of the things and I just didn't want kids messing with cancer. So, okay, so the beekeeper program, hopefully that will be a lot of fun. Singing bowls are happening. We're doing birds of prey for the new member brunch, book club, blood drive, end of summer reading. So things that we're adding. So for story time on Wednesday, the 2nd, the fire department's going to come and do a special fire department story time with our members. We can do stories maybe on the actual truck and so they're gonna be. We're also doing a basket making program on the 8th, which I don't have in here, so I didn't have it ready yet. We're also doing so the teen night is going to be the end of summer reading, and then for the end of summer reading for the kids, we're having the aquarium come. They're going to be doing invertebrates and showing the kids the little creatures in this game. I find that neat. Then we're also doing a seed saving program that Sarah's daughter is going to do for us.
That's Hannah.
Hannah, whoops, wrong one, sorry. And that's going to be on August 30th. It's a Wednesday. And there's more coming up in September, but dealing well. Our programs have definitely been popular again, which has been great. Our summer reading kickoff when we had the reptile show, we had 19 children, 12 adults and 3 teens. The prescription drug take back day was extremely successful, which was great. Had to have had at least 10, 12 and 15 people dropping bags of medications off, but we had 2 construction bags full of medications that I was able to take back and get rid of. So it was, I was really happy with it. And the guy was great. He was so, the trooper or the sheriff who was here, he was just happy to be here, engaging with all the kids and engaging with the patrons, and he was reading an actual book. It was slow. Yes, that's great. Mandela painting went good. I have to actually do another one because people have asked for that. So that's, and then our story times are still going extremely strong. We had 9 kids yesterday. And then I think a week before that, we had somewhere around 12. So they're still going really, really well.
Now, do they serve ice cream every story?
Not every story.
Ice cream at 11 o'clock. No wonder they like story days. So many people are like, oh my goodness.
No, this was just a special story.
It was really nice to observe the tail end of it though, and just see what a nice thing it is, not just for the kids, but the parents and grandparents who are there, and you could just see what a great, people having interaction, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a nice spot for them to all just kind of get together. It's how it was for when I was a kid, when my kids were little. I think stories. It was such an important part of our it's how I met friends, and it's how I became sorry, here. So circulation in June. It stayed about the same. It went off, but it definitely was about the same. The thing that was great about June is that our daily visits went up from 695 visits in May to 1,055 visits in June. And that's just June, that's not July. We've been extremely busy with the Upper Hudson Library Expedition.
Yeah.
However, if you take some of those away, we're still very busy, not including them. So our numbers are not just going up because of UHLS, they're going up just in general, so. It was, and July has been busier than June was, so then I expect that we'll continue on that upward trend for July. So it's been great, and everybody's been busy and they've been, happy to do it, and all the expeditioners who come in are just so much fun, they love it here, so. I only had one family that I know of that came in, got their stamp and left really quick, but that was because we were the sixth one and they were tired and they were done for the day.
The last two times I've come in for books, there have been expeditioners here.
Yeah.
Been like hanging out and engaging and yeah, it's been really
Yeah.
cool.
And the typewriter, everyone loves the typewriter, so I did tell,
And that was, UHLS did a post about it, right?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Which library has the
Yeah.
typewriter?
Yeah. We have gotten some new patrons, we have 16 new adult patrons and 3 new children, for the month of June, so that's pretty good. As far as collection development, I didn't add quite as many books this month or in the month of June. Primarily because we're getting ready for June and July and doing lots of planning and stuff, so. And I was on vacation. Summer camp is going really well. There were a lot of kids here today. I think we had at least 30 something, and they were. Today everyone got a free bike helmet from the fire department, which was amazing. Yeah,
Didn't go over well.
yeah, I heard everybody yelling. In my office. I'm like, this is great.
Has the food improved this year?
Yes, the food is much better. I don't know if you can see over there, but those are all boxes of milk and shelf stable
Yep.
milk, so we don't have to go nuts with all of the refrigeration that we used to do. So, and the kids like the food a lot better this year than last year. So, and they're getting breakfast as like a snack. So if it's a muffin and a piece of fruit and some milk and a juice, that's what they get for the snacks this year, which is great. And it's obvious, I don't know, it's a muddy, wet, nasty mess under the because of the flooding, which is something we're gonna have to figure out because we can't keep this. Someone put masks down. I don't know who that was. Do you?
No, Jessica asked me too, I don't know.
You know? Okay, well, someone put mats down on the mud flow and it seems to be working.
Like what boards?
No, like rubber mats. that you would- Yeah, I don't know where they came from. Maybe wonder if it's town code.
I don't know, we don't know when she wasn't sure when they showed up.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So.
Oh, great. Summer reading kickoff was well. It was a little bit quieter. The team night was quieter, but they still had a lot of fun. We had our summer reading registration. We've got 15 babies, toddlers, preschoolers signed up. We have 25 kids who are 5 to 10 years old, and we have 11 teenagers. The teenagers, I'm sure will not. Can't step in, but maybe they will if I entice them well enough, so we'll see. I was unable to meet with T-Mobile this month. We were gonna do that, we rescheduled. And fall meetings and the building committee met, which we talked about, the brand new marketing committee also talked. Oh, I forgot I'll bring that in a minute. So this report, we had a total of 693 extra people come to the library for the expedition, and that was from when it started, so that was April, so June or July. The other thing, I met with Dennis Burak today, with the veterans, and he gave us the statue that they want to find out in house for, so I have it in my office. I'll bring it over so we can see it, so I can show you all. And he was super excited about trying to, make it something special. And I also tried to talk and find out if they want to do some kind of a celebration or an unveiling or something like that to the public. He said, let me talk to everybody, and then if you guys have any ideas as well, then we can do something. But I thought that we should do something to mark the occasion. And make it special.
Do you think maybe he would be interested in doing that at the new president event?
Ooh, that's a great idea.
I think that was the name of it.
That's a very good idea.
Well, I'm not gonna take credit, but.
We can definitely have it ready by then.
Yeah.
Unveiling. Okay, that sounds great. I'll see if he wants to do that. That would be the perfect time to do it. And I think that's it. Our team night last time was a lot of fun because we made kids play games and we actually had to force them to play, but they had fun anyway. They did different like minute to win it games, you know, so one of them was transfer an M&M from one plate to another using only a straw. Another one's you put a heavy object on a piece of toilet paper and then roll the toilet paper after that for a frame. They seem to have fun once we made them, you know, actually do it. And we did give out prizes and they were nice prizes. We had like a $15 or $10 gift certificate to Target and then gift cards for $1 Venmo and then can of vegan. So it was good. So we'll do something similar for next month, but with water games. That was get wet.
Doing a great job. There's so much going on, so many things moving and on every front, so really.
Oh, and I'm gonna be on vacation in a couple of weeks also. So I will not be here for the next meeting, actually. Trip. I will just have gotten home, possibly. The next meeting is the 17th of August. Okay. So I will be on vacation from the 9th until the 18th.
Italy? It's just.
We're going to Italy. I'm just looking at our agenda last night, or itinerary, I should say. I'm very excited. So, yes.
Well deserved break. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Ken? I really think I'm just so impressed with the exhibition program. Yeah, it's really yeah, it's really wonderful. It's great idea.
30,000 visitors, that's really an amazing number. It's much larger than last.
Oh, like huge compared to last time. Actually, we've had 2 people so far who have finished the expedition at our library. Which is
wow.
so, you know, got the picture.
Except that means they left us for last.
Well, it's not so far away from everything. It's good.
That's for last, you know?
Yeah, they'll still get their gold card, so it's all good.
There were 2 young women in today when I was here earlier, and did you see them? They look like I thought they looked like they were going to the Barbie movie.
Oh,
premiere.
geez.
They were both in really bright pink and like fancy outfits, you know, and but I think I overheard the one say she works at Troy. But they were talking about that there are quite a number of people are coming in for their gold cards, gold cards, people, so it seems like a lot of people are.
Yeah, they're finishing it, which is great.
Yeah.
So. And it's fun having a gold card.
Yeah,
I have one and it's expensive.
All righty. Richard, you're up for treasurer.
Yeah, so we're hanging in, as you can see on the second page, based on annual expenses of 127, we've spent about 63,000 so far. So not too bad, about halfway through. And we're more than halfway through the year, so we're hanging in there pretty well. Utilities are staying pretty constant. We haven't drawn down any money from the accounts. We still have over $50,000 in our special project savings accounts, scholarship accounts. Everything else is pretty much holding steady.
And thank you for tracking down our,
Melanie.
yeah. Appreciate you going through that.
That was easy. That was just call the guy up. He says, I have no idea why she's getting emails. Oh, she's still on the list in the email. Can you take her off?
That would be why.
Yeah. So she's no longer getting alerts. Not that there were any. I mean, there was one transfer of that, you know, but it's just nice cleaning that up. And I did contact someone that could help us with QuickBooks, but Kim said that the accounting people will hopefully help us. But there is a magic button in QuickBooks. You can get rid of those accounts.
There is magic one.
You have to make sure, that they're there, you know, you want to get rid of them. And as far as the internal transfer, she said there is a way of doing that as well.
Oh, okay.
But
Maybe it's not her about that.
Yeah, that, because that isn't tracking on our income when we take it out of one account and move it into operating account.
Right.
That's not tracking as we discussed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he did say there was a transfer button in there.
Well, that's what I use as a transfer, but,
There was some other thing in there. I'm not sure. I'll ask her again.
all right, if you don't, then I can call her.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll, you know, I mean, you know, if you want, when you're in it, if you want, I'll give you the phone.
Okay,
I'll be happy to do that.
awesome.
You can call her. If she's, you know, you want to do quick work.
Yeah, so for the, all of the old accounts that are still being looked at, what, the accountants said they're gonna do is we'll, I'll give him everything that they need for our taxes, like our normal stuff, but then I will also give them all of the, reconciliations and, just all of the different accounts that we have, and while they're doing our taxes, they will also go through and help figure out how to reconcile all of that in QuickBooks and give you the what you call it, the journal entries that we should make. So I have some digging to do to find some paperwork, but we can get that done. Right now, we have our accounts have balances still in old accounts that don't exist anymore. So in QuickBooks, it looks like we have, you know, an extra $26,000 in this. And that's, yeah, fix that.
Before we delete it, we don't have it. If we do have it, but
There you go, yeah.
Wouldn't that be a lovely surprise?
you always ask Capcom, you hold it off on this.
Oh, these would be with other banks.
That's what I was thinking. I figured Capcom is pretty much, they're very easy to go in there.
Yeah. This is old grants.
Yeah.
Monies that haven't been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. All right. Do you have any questions about the money going on? And
Looks good.
Hang it in. hang in, we're on track. We pretty much stay on budget, which is a good thing. And the price of fuel oil has gone down.
Which is.
Always a good
surprise,
thing.
yeah.
We don't pre-buy though.
No.
No.
No, I haven't.
Okay. That was all flying around now with pre-buy deals that, you know, you can cap it at X amount. I think Morse is $3.30, I want to say, a gallon. H&L is like $3.80, but that's absolutely the max it will ever go to. And then it may go lower than that if you pay, and you may get a nonprofit discount. So I don't know, how many gallons you all use, if it's something you want to look at, it's just kind of a protection, we do it for the church. I do it for my house, you know, it's just something that, I don't know if anybody else here does it, but.
I think about it every year and I don't do it.
What's that?
I said I look into it every year and then we don't do it, but not for any good reason.
Okay, it's just, I get scared,
Yeah.
like after a couple of years ago, it just spiked.
Yeah.
So much.
Yep.
And, but obviously I was protected against that. But then, of course, the last fill was 2 days after the expiration of my contract. So they got me.
Man.
And I'm sure they were holding those trucks back.
Now, like, Bauer actually called us and said, you probably don't need us, but the price is going up in 2 days. You want us to come.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was
nice.
Yeah, Give the net place to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What company is that?
Legenbauer. Legenbauer.
Very good.
That's what we use.
I use H&L, and the church uses Larrabee,
Maybe was.
Larrabee, and the Morse people are still, they're cutting their price to try to get into the market. They're like 30 cents cheaper than everybody else.
Just remember another program.
Is it related to fuel oil or? I
don't know why I thought of it, but
No, so I don't know if y'all want to look into that or not. It's just, who do we normally use for?
like more.
Legenbauer. Did they send you anything about that? No? Okay.
I'll look into it though.
I mean, whatever, because it's nice to cap the price. And they always have something built in that they can also go 30 cents lower. Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, the day of the car show and the Fort Back Festival, I'm gonna have over the day doing Jump to the Beat again. So he's wonderful and it's so much fun. Everyone gets a drum, everyone can participate. So
What date is that?
it's on the 19th of August and it's gonna be at 11 o'clock. It'll be right before 4,000 there's that.
I did this like another people award.
Did he?
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, they just got an award, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but drums and beat is fantastic. If you, it's just so much fun to do. It's a wonderful presenter and. So sorry about that. Great.
Okay, into committee reports, so, let's start with major projects, so there are some handouts related to this. And I'm gonna rely on Kim, Sarah, and Scott to jump in. And give a overview. So what happened each time, I forget what we've talked about in the last 48, where we were, because this is dragged on so long, it's hard to remember, what we talked about. So I think where we were last time is, you know about the yeah. No. They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we-
We
Okay.
don't want this
Okay.
20,000.
Okay.
We don't want that.
All right, thank you. So because we have this generous gift to put towards changing the we were able to go back to and say, okay, let's think about what we can do to focus on the children's room changes. We know that related to that are some HVAC changes. And look at the plan that you had before, what can we do to alter that to just focus on that area? And at the same time, we had been talking about possibly some changes to the community room so that we could open up the space where the kitchenette is and make this a little bit of a nicer unit space with a little bit different storage. Expanding out. So we met with Paul last week, last week. And he came back, I didn't print out the entire presentation for the last old slide, but what you have here, the first sheet shows the children's room, so what you see on the left is the existing space, so the grayed out area is the existing space, and you see where we have all of that kind of wasted space that is taken up by HVAC and storage, things that aren't usable for the space. And then on the right side is the new proposed space, which opens up that whole area. So we will keep the electric.
It's an electric closet.
Yeah.
I was thinking we should make the art closet as well. There's not a lot in there.
Okay, yeah. So we still have that, but otherwise we open up that entire area. And you can see these, made some proposals in terms of what that space would look out layout wise, but it would be a really great opportunity to open up that children's room. We don't have to expand, it's a fairly limited controlled project, but it does have the other work with the HVAC. However, that is very desirable in terms of grantability with energy efficiency and all of that. So it's kind of a plus that's involved with this. We also have to think about the roof at the same time, and there's some questions about what materials and all that kind of thing, and how much that will cost. So that's a little bit up in the air at the moment. But so that was his presentation of the children's room, which our impression was that would work really well and be a great change and really allow us to show the community a really great improvement for the kids and families.
And since it's all tied together, does that mean the 20,000 for children's room would be matching funds for an HVAC grant? We need matching funds.
It would be matching funds for the DLG grant.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so we just added, what we were able to put in,
yeah,
added that much more.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right, cool.
So the other drawing is the community room, so where removing the existing kitchenette. And I'm sorry, I got confused on this picture. Okay, so removing the kitchenette, what Paul has proposed is putting pantry cabinets. I don't think any of us think that that's a good idea, so that's fine, just so kind of ignore that. But basically it gives a big open room we would probably at the same time make some changes to be able to have like an overhead projector and have that AV better. And then in the back, as you look backwards, so his proposal is to keep the existing storage closet as is, not worry about taking down, it's already got a wall in there and all that kind of stuff. Leave that as it is, and it gives you, it's close then to going upstairs. Leave that as a totally private room. And then the separate room where a new kitchenette would be, and some additional storage. He's really kind of gone to town on how much kitchenette we need, I think. So that would be another discussion, but that could be open, people could go in there to use that if we needed to, if we wanted to make that a private space and more storage. And he did propose, including a window, so it's not just which probably is a good idea. And the way that it's laid out here is that the dividing line is before the window that exists out in the library space. So trying to minimize the impact and changes and all of that. So those are the two things that he worked up for us. And then the other two sheets are. And I'm sorry, the printer ran out of color. Yeah, it's like, this is not in color, so I apologize. I know the gray is a little bit pale there. So basically he laid out based on the matching grant that we would get with DLD, which at this point we understand we are eligible for the 2575 match the costs. So that's what that financial sheet is. The other sheet is the renovation estimates that Bill provided almost a year ago. So he did give us a big caveat that these are potentially could be a lot more based on how supplies and continue to go up.
A year ago, supplies were more expensive than they are now.
He's
I
seemed
mean,
to
during
indicate
COVID, some of the materials were like incredibly.
yeah, I didn't know that they came down.
My understanding is they haven't come down a whole lot, but they're not higher than they were a year ago. That's that much I have been told. But
So-
you're welcome.
So we also talked to him about with the funding, and so we know we have the DLD grant option, and he thinks that's very look, our project would be very well suited. Thanks. Yes.
Good thing.
Good fit, thank you. Yeah. And the other thing that we have that we're exploring is the T-Mobile community grants. And that also looks like a good fit for us. We don't really know a whole lot about it in terms of you know, what the rewards are, what the awards have been like and all that kind of stuff. But it certainly seems like a good fit. And his suggestion was, in order to maximize the DLD match, that if we were to try to get that grant to be able to put towards, that would really maximize our funds. So we obviously are going to have a lot of work to do coming up if we decide to move forward in this. I jumped ahead. So as the committee discussed it, and I think we agreed with Paul as well, that really the focus right now would be the children's room. Like that is the number one priority, and it addresses several of our top priority kind of items. And seems like the most guaranteed to go through.
And the most impactful for the community.
Exactly. Anything else that we're able to do would really be great, but this is going to be the focus. So that's part of what we wanted to bring to the larger board tonight. The deadline for submitting to Upper Hudson the bare bones proposal for the grants is the 26th.
July.
Yes.
Right
Doesn't
on.
mean anything huge yet, it's just the bare bones, like what are we thinking, what are we gonna try to do, and about how much money we'll have to spend.
So it's gonna be important for us to come to a decision tonight on if we feel comfortable moving forward in this direction. And then start that process and then start the process on.
And then when is the school grant?
Then the full grant proposal is August 30.
Oh,
Oh, 30th.
And
30th.
That's all.
okay.
And then the whole process is still, it's either the whole, basically a year out before you, right, you're.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
the
spring.
services committee votes on this in October, November, the grants. I don't get funded until May or June.
So, right, you spoke on Monday. Okay.
I sent him an email on Monday.
Okay, next. Was there any further update from him?
I don't think so. I haven't heard from him since we spoke.
So what he would like us to do is to be able to, you know, make a decision if we're moving forward. How we want to position that, and then we'll need to start to work with him on putting this together.
I'll put it in the econ, but we're in the econ. It's part of this, when we did econ, he's putting an econ instead of using the oil furnaces, at least for that part of the building. Unfortunately, both.
So how much would that change the mechanical and electronic upgrades?
So the thing where it says interior children's area reconfiguration, that number is for redoing the adult NYA room and putting that room into,
Kind of like
so the, where you do want.
okay.
So the whole part of the building, that was that number for that space.
The estimates that we're currently working on really don't reflect anything that's probably useful. Right. Because ultimately, the major difference is between what we were thinking of doing is you were flipping the children's room with the front portion. We talked about moving the circulation desk into a different area. It's just much more limited. Taking out all the little warring-like rooms and a couple of mechanical rooms. Getting a new heating plant, at least for part of the building, it's not all of the building, depending on what's going on, but probably part of the building, but freeing up a lot more space in the areas that are small.
Exactly. And what he did say is that what if we get him to go ahead, he'll go back to MR2, which is the company he works with, the construction company, and get a little bit better.
And in connection with
So
another.
what we're considering is this heat here,
Yes.
right? So that is a little different than the configuration we were talking about.
Right, it's the original master plan.
Yeah, wait,
Take this,
yeah,
put it
and move
here,
it there, right.
and then some. just
Right,
stuff
I
here.
got you, I got you. This looks a little bit more usable. But this is the plan that you all talked to Paul about.
Yes.
This guy here. Okay. So.
And it was the view of, I guess, Sarah, Ben and I, that it made more sense to do the children's room. I mean, I think consensus was that moving this, I mean, let's not call it the kitchenette, there's a sink here.
Yeah.
With a $30.
In my studio apartment, that looks like a full kitchen.
I'm just saying, it's grandiose. But all we'll do over there, but in any event, our feeling about this was that we have a room that's useful. The relative value of the improvement of this area look better, have greater usability, but essentially it's going to be the same function. We may get a little bit more storage, and for a price tag of probably $125,000 or more, that just didn't seem money. It would be nice. It's a low priority. If we do it, it's something out. Now, and I think the other concept, I know Sarah and I were sort of amenable to this, is developing decking to create a more useful outside area. Useful for camp, useful for concerts, useful for whatever we do.
Fits well with the T-Mobile community, grant.
And so in terms of priority, I think we felt, let's get the kids' room done. That's probably highest value and greatest impact. Like create opportunities for fundraising. It seems to be a more attractive project. And it seems like, I mean, based upon the survey research that Sarah's done, it sounds like there's a lot of community interest and perceived value in developing an outside area. And And I think, just trying to figure out how to use the outdoor space.
And Kim just said, like, we gotta figure something out for camping.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
I-
it's actually,
so,
a need.
like,
We have it, yeah.
It fits in there, so
Yeah.
I mean, the community seems interested or intrigued by that idea. But that's sort of what our thinking was.
Yeah.
I think basically if we, think that we want to pursue the grant. The next step is also gonna have to roll up the sleeves, decide exactly what's going to be done and start speaking to people. I think the big issue with respect to just the numbers is that he's been projecting around $35,000 to do the re-roofing section, a very small area of the roof based on his initial desire to keep its tin roof.
Yeah.
He raised the issue that, I forget the. HIPAA might have some interest in insisting in that this is a bondable project, they've got a touch on it. And they might insist on retaining the historical portion of the roof. I don't know, but my guess is that's highly unlikely. It's a building that's been changed. I was thinking of a different term. It's a bit more body.
Well, actually, if you think about it, they already did the old section of the roof, and they had to have gotten approval from Chico to do that section, so why wouldn't we get the approval to get to?
So my impression was though that it wasn't SHPA itself that cared, that it was, and I'm sorry, I can't find my notebook that had the note, because I did write it down when I said it, but that it had to do with being part of a grant, that the DLD or whoever, whatever, had a wanted them to sign off on it, so like if we were just doing it, then I don't
Yes,
care. But because they have to get their review through that,
This-
so that was part of
this-
the.
This stuff is gets bonded by the state. It's a grant program, but it essentially gets funded through bonding.
Okay.
And the bonding requirements for the state are pretty specific. And so you need to touch bases in order to use bond to get the money. So that's why it's probably. We'll see this if they do that. But the point of this long story is that the numbers we're getting are like $35,000 to do how many square feet of roof? It's a really small number.
Yeah, it seems
So
awfully high.
it's
Yeah.
like, it's crazy high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like triple.
So my hope is that when actually all is said and done, to the extent that it's time to fix that roof, it's not gonna be anywhere near that expensive, which will. I don't know that it will free up some funds because it's just gonna be expensive. And since all projects end up generally costing more than they're projected to, if we're using $175,000 as the estimated price, chances are it's gonna be more than that. Based upon my experience with construction, so hopefully. If you lose $20,000 of 35 estimate, and even that's high. You may find that the project ends up being actually doable for the amount of money that we have.
Right, yeah.
So anyway, that's my view of this.
Yeah.
I
so
think it's
the-
an exciting project. I think the community will be excited about it. I think the library. Sort of the ambience of the library and sort of the services that we can provide. So I think it's a great idea to at least pursue. I mean, you're not committing to anything. Obviously spending some money in the fall, doing this stuff up, but this is something that we've identified. We've already spent a lot of money in having them develop this, so it seems like a good idea to continue.
And basically, I think he sort of. Backed in and fronted into the figure, so when he looked at what we had said we were able to contribute initially, which we were saying we were comfortable with 25,000, then we said we have this additional 20,000, bringing that number up. And then, with our match, it's still money, and then it's sort of, okay, it sort of matches this, so I feel like, in round numbers, general approximations, it's in the. We can.
Yeah, I think basically. The numbers he got were, I think you're right, the numbers he had were irrelevant, but I think he thinks he can do what we're talking about for that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to the extent that he has to go back and take a look at it. they'll see what, what gets included, what doesn't. But it's like, we're in the role.
Okay, so questions people have, and then we can see if we agree that we're gonna move forward.
But basically, we'd be pulling 25,000 out of special projects reserve, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as we all understand that, that's fine.
Yeah, not in the special projects.
Well, that's what it's there for.
I think sounds good.
Yeah, I mean,
Go forward.
we just make, is there any time limit on the $20,000 gift that we have to spend it immediately or anything? I wouldn't think so, I just, sometimes there. Yeah, so I mean, you've got 35,000 in the special projects, and you could definitely pull 25,000 out of that and not impact your bottom line.
The only point I don't think we made was that the heating plant's old. It's close to its usable life.
Right.
So we're gonna spend some money anyway.
Yeah.
So this
Get
project,
it grant.
this
Get-
project gets that
yeah.
done, so.
Yeah.
What are the chances of getting the grant? Pretty good.
Well, at last board meeting for Upper Hudson, there was. Tim said that he didn't see that the grants, at least from what he knew now, which is before anyone even expressed interest. That the grants would be oversubscribed.
Okay.
So to the extent, and the issue with respect to that is, as Jen suggested, you have to, well, the grants. The evaluation of the grants are prioritized, so based upon the criteria established by Upper Hudson, certain projects have greater attraction for bonding. And so they, in order of priority, take a look at, are you serving underserved populations, accessibility, energy efficiency, and if you hit those.
Sorry.
If you hit those particular standards, your application for the grant will be evaluated higher than some other people who, let's say, just want to put a deck out there. Like.
Well, do you
like
think,
what-
do you think the flooding will impact the subscription? Is there flooding up
Well,
in the
that's-
Adirondack?
That's, they're not.
What if somebody said, that's not a part of our district?
And even the
You go
Hudson
with-
Valley where that stuff happened is in the Upper Hudson. Right.
The farthest we go in, it's
Or Columbia and
Preston
Vermont.
County and all, that's all that is.
We make it through all of that.
You
Well, I just, it's because I know what happened in Vermont, it was.
Yeah.
And down in the valley, but not.
Down Orange County, you don't get down Hudson.
And then the Lebanon with beavers.
Well, that was a whole nother issue.
Yes, I know.
Oh, and that came from Massachusetts, by the way. That
Well,
means-
everything that.
That means damage to Pittsfield State Forest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my bad.
So, well,
Massachusetts beavers.
let's go
Well,
ahead.
I moved,
Yes.
I move we proceed with the $45,000 option.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, great. We'll be happy, I'm sure.
And so things will get more specific then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We like to move ahead, scoring darts is a moving target.
All right, fundraising, so you have a report, what I will give a quick update on, so. What was new is we received a generous matching grant proposal offer donation. Someone who wants to remain anonymous, so. Essentially, she'll match up to $2,000, so $4,000 potential. Which essentially covers what we were hoping to raise from Amendment. Which is nice, since we're not really gonna be able to pull that off. So, right now, and I'm sorry, my computer, I think, overheated in the car, so I'm trying to get that pulled back up now. But I believe we are at $400 in donations so far from that. So bringing that to $800, so.
So this person, I'm sorry, I know I'm not official,
That's all right.
but.
I remember the public.
Yeah, remember the company, you can ask.
So you have your time to talk, but we'll leave that.
The gift is actually contingent on you matching it.
I think she'll match each gift up to that.
So if we make, if we get $1,000, she'll back 1,000, if we
Yes.
get 600, she'll back 600.
Yeah.
Is there a time?
Yes, by the end of the summer, so it's so not the 21st of September. And it's possible she would contribute 2,000. Even if we.
Anyway,
Yeah. That's, yeah.
Doesn't want
I-
to say so, and then people say, oh, I don't.
Right.
Oh, no, it's good. Ladies.
So we have, so far what we did was, we sent out an email to lower price point. So my concern with this and what we've got to talk about with different fundraising efforts is impacting annual appeal. Because we do well on that and we don't wanna have negative
Cannibalize
impact on
it.
that.
Mhm.
So the first one in attack was an email to our lower price point donors and those who have not donated. It was about 200 people. And the idea would be to do a follow-up. That was good.
A bus.
What, huh?
A bus.
A bus, yeah, I believe it was either $25 or $50. It was really poor results.
Only the people who hadn't donated.
Right, exactly, yes.
Yeah,
So I think with the next round, I would
eliminate them.
yes, but and up the price point just a little, so to see how that goes. We also have done a push on Facebook, we have flyers out. We did get, I know we got one from the Facebook post, at least, and it's gonna go in the newsletter. Which is that going out? Right for August, right? So
Yeah.
I'll do it for August, okay. There's all the online options, QR code, show URL, all that kind of stuff, and a Square donation page. And do you mind if I mention? Your
Don't mention that. No, of course, whatever you need to do.
So Deborah pointed out that we needed to update and customize our thank you email, which I thought we'd had problems with before, but I think that was related to the pickup times. Is that what's there? Yeah.
Oh,
So I will look at that. I did see that there was a place to change the language, so it says order, a donation rather than order, and such. I think we probably had this, the order, from when we did all of the different big sales and online sales. Yeah. So we'll update that and then I'll be sending out the thank you notes as well. So that's we're really fortunate to get this and hopefully we can make this work a little bit better for us. The other update, it's not much of an update, I apologize, I thought there'd be much more to say today, but the Elio software or Elio program, we started with it, the first initial data upload has happened. I did initial data cleanup on our spreadsheet that we kept. I have yet to QA the records that they uploaded for us. And then there's gonna be a little bit of manual cleanup and then there's gonna be some additional things. So that was mostly all annual appeal. We'll have to add in all the other gifts. We were pull those from.
Is there-
Can you make password, so I'm going to look at it?
Yeah, you have to set up an account, so it's, everything is separate accounts. Separate users,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, that's fine, I just was, this thing.
Yeah, because and it's unfortunately, you have to set it up with they only allow a personalized, like a personal email. You
Mhm.
cannot set
Yeah,
it
that's
up with like trustees at
No,
student, how much we do for everything. So everybody who's gonna go in will have their own,
Yeah.
your email associated with
I
it.
mean, the only reason I can do that, because I can maybe figure out.
Yeah.
Help people, I'm not really going there big time tomorrow.
Okay,
It's still that,
I
upload
will-
100 membership.
I will appreciate that.
Is there any just basic cleanup that like I could help with? Like, is there, you going through and like checking zip codes or make, I mean, is there any-
No, I mean, what I'm gonna do is a quick QA, the areas where there's, the ones that are tricky are couples who have different last names, and how they're treated, and I thought I mostly cleaned that up on the get-go before the upload, but I immediately noticed one last agreement, that doesn't look like what I thought I did.
People with different last names, you've been treating us well.
It does get confused if you have two last names on address, it kind of goes.
Yeah, it was,
It creates,
what I got.
two separate contexts, which is fine.
Right, and then you should have a relationship feel, and so I don't know.
Yeah, I always stay away from that.
If there is like just data, maybe
Yeah.
stuff that.
Yeah, I mean,
needs to
I
be
will,
done, like
I will
that.
absolutely, yeah,
Me too.
okay, thank you.
the contacts is the key. All of that.
Everything, yeah. So. Any other questions on fundraising?
Yeah, I'm not sure this, I'm away from the second to the 20th.
That's too many days.
Okay,
So I wanted to at least sell some pottery,
oh, at the,
but I'm not going to be. gonna be
You
in
don't need to be
Japan.
okay,
So. But maybe we should do something before September. I try to do that somewhere.
okay. What are you-
Well, because I will donate proceeds to the library and avail.
That would be awesome, right, that would be awesome.
So maybe we could do, if someone else is willing to do that.
Table, are you talking about table at the car show, that,
Well, no, I'm not gonna be there.
no, no,
Somebody
but
else.
someone else might there,
Do that.
Well, we can do that, yeah, that's what I have.
or, I mean.
Or you could.
Ignore my t-shirt when I say, or see if, you know, for that balance, I think vendors as well.
But I'm not here.
Right, but I mean, somebody else.
Yeah, no, I can put together, I've got plenty of stuff.
Okay.
Well, I have.
Has anybody met the new owners of Dave's?
I mean, not officially, I don't
Like, I'm just wondering if they would let us have like a shelf, you know how they used to be all that local stuff, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
still in there,
They seem-
no?
Well, I mean, it seems like they're redoing that area.
Yeah, I
So,
dipped in a couple times
Yeah.
and didn't
Yeah.
really, but I mean, if they would just let us have like a shelf for pottery that had to be paid for by them. or something,
I think you better to do.
Okay.
Just.
Yeah.
I go Dave's clientele, I'm part of Dave's clientele.
Too
I
bad.
wouldn't put my pottery there.
There's lots of like Jimmy people and stuff that come there.
So,
I just think keep that in mind, however it
Yeah.
looks, I mean, if someone wants
if
to.
it's at the car show, I'm sure we can cover it because
It's a
between.
lousy venue, the only people who
Yeah.
are your mother and you.
No.
And I appreciate that, so people
Yeah.
want to see cars, they
Yeah.
don't want to carry stuff around.
Wanna go see cars.
I mean, I had some time there, it was fun.
Right.
And I think we, well, people bought maple syrup.
Yeah.
The syrup was
fun.
I'm just saying that wasn't, probably Stephentown was better, right?
Yeah, I would think.
Again, probably, that's true.
Again, not to despair, but they're
No,
going to see the
not,
cars.
I don't disagree with you. I was only saying there, I'm sure we could cover the table because, I mean, he's gonna be there.
Yeah,
like, there's
there,
plenty of
yeah.
people there,
Mhm.
but I don't know who's gonna be at Fort Bell, or if somebody else is available that day to have the table. So I'm not, you know.
Anyway, or some other day, but I think that those dates are good because there's not a track.
So the shelf.
Ongoing.
Yeah, ongoing, I mean.
Those are the same people that'll donate money and stuff, I mean, you wanna get people that will
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah,
My pottery's gotten better too.
I trade in. I buy the stuff for-
This is not even. I was just thinking it wouldn't insult anybody if you had a display saying, you know, all proceeds go to the library. Period. You know, I mean, and you had these people coming through, all these, you know.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah,
You
Should have thought.
have a lot
Also
more-
feature
more
Yeah.
traffic.
local artists.
Huh?
And you could also switch it out and feature local artists in that
As long as
space.
they would be willing to, you know, contribute a
Yeah,
lot of their proceeds to the
of
library.
course, yeah.
And it's not like that's something that would insult anybody,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, and certainly if you have nice pottery to start with, and then other artists. You just have a regular thing, and then people would kind of come in saying, I wonder what you got this month, you never know, I mean. And since you have a lot of foot traffic, a lot more than what we had before,
Yeah, but that's about to.
not necessarily, she said, even without the expensive people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll
But
be.
it'll have to do on it, yeah.
Well, go down, but you know, we'll have a lot of people come through there.
Okay, well, let's circle back on what you think is the right plan. I appreciate thinking ahead, to try to get that matching part of it.
Yeah.
I will throw out that through September, I'm working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like every week, those are my hours, Saturday, Friday, Saturday. So it means I'm not available for.
Okay.
On that note, I also am working on Sundays now, so I will not be able to attend the. I know. But
Can we at least bring your kids?
maybe we tracked some people, yeah, sorry about that.
How about
I'll be
Janet?
here.
Good.
If you need me for anything, if you need me for anything, I can help.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have another question that just popped into my head recently. I don't know that I think it's branding. How do you get that glass box in the post office for your stuff?
The stories that I have.
Usually announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's theirs.
Yeah, we have.
I mean, there's some really cool exhibits in there.
Have to take, but we also have to make a lot of other shit down. It's clear it's gonna come.
I don't know if they would get that.
Yeah, it's not for fun.
Oh, not even just for display purposes.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more like library display, not pottery stuff, but,
Like this was like signs or something.
huh?
Like,
No, we'd have to come up with something. We'd have to come up with. You know, like maybe our original
Oh, okay.
charter and,
Let's
in a
just come
stack
to
of the
me.
veterans or whatever. and
Okay.
Library cards, and you would have to be like what's in there, you know, like the little toys and the Christmas cards, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, all right, no, it just occurred to me when I was standing there, I always look at
I get you over there. It's really cool to look at.
What about the new resident event? We could,
That's a good
we
idea.
could sell it, and I'll be here for that, so I wouldn't mind selling it. I mean, it's the 6th.
That's soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Very soon.
And then you could test to see when you would display it.
it, so when you want to learn.
I thought I was going already. But you got room out there. For the next 500.
When you don't have fun.
Oh, the 500.
It has a typewriter. Oh, that would make me.
Yeah, it's more of a sick.
Oh, yeah. Great, we're gonna do- I'm gonna do first.
What about at events that Louise is doing at, yeah.
So-
You get a lot of people.
Yeah, she has been getting. But she has her own, the store there as well. where all
Right,
the-
but then she has vendors.
Depending on, she is doing a big. She's gonna be doing a big sale, I think, for. Yeah, so it's on the 16th number, so. You know, she follows, everybody tries to sell this stuff, so maybe we can see.
Yeah.
if we can put
That's great.
that would be- yep.
Jen, what do you think about the new resident event, having the lottery and so many?
Yeah, I don't think it hurts.
And
I don't know.
I'll be there, and others will be there.
Yeah.
That's what you think about.
There's nothing, it's still there.
That's a good segue to. The marketing reports.
I think we keep it planning next one.
Oh, sorry.
No, I got it backwards now. Okay. Well, I am going to review the program survey results. In fact, let me go through the other stuff first, but a couple things about the program survey results. First of all, you'll see that they dovetail really nicely with the master plan plans that we discussed, which is lucky and fortunate. And I had a question as to, I could just leave it as it is as a standalone, or we can update it with sort of action plans coming out of it. So I don't know what you prefer for that. And it can just be what it is, and we can have our action plans and do what we do, or I can update the deck with, based on these findings, we did this, and this. Just something to think about. So we were just discussing that the second new resident welcome event is taking place August 6th. From 11 to 1, we sent a save the date out to the not-for-profits that were involved last time. And I know, Jen, you reached out to a number of those people, and people said they would come, so that's great. We still need to prepare information packets for that, and include a piece about volunteering in it, in our packet, and branded giveaways. We sent the press release out and it's aired. I know Jen saw it, at least in the Eastwood, right?
Yep, it was also on the front page of the advertisement. Yeah, someone, I don't know who it was, Joyce, maybe someone told me. I saw your new resident program is on the front page of the advertiser, so.
That's exciting. I didn't ask for the front page. And tomorrow I'm gonna send out a final email to the co-sponsors from last time and all former attendees, the people that came the last time, the former new residents, who weren't so new and sophomores. Exactly, so I'll get that out, and in that email, I'll mention that there's gonna be a Birds of Prey event afterwards to encourage attendance. And I hope that everybody, or as many of you as can, will come to welcome people. And now I will get into the results of the survey. I'm not gonna be able to find it again, so. I don't know, were you able to look at it, everybody, or, yeah? So just a quick background, we wanted to assure the continuing viability and relevance of the library and continually expand educational services. So we wanted to do an assessment of how current patrons feel about the programming that we have at SML. So in May of 23, we conducted a programming survey using Google Forms, which is not my favorite survey tool, but it's the price is really right. Sending the link to all active patrons, 275 of them, and new card holders, 79, to get feedback on the success of our programming directed toward adults and families, teens, tweens, toddlers, and young children. The survey also asked a number of general questions about patron programming preferences and potential library facility enhancement options. We got 34 completes, which wasn't so great, but it's more than we had without having done the survey, and it.
34 board.
Yeah, so it's like a 10% response rate, which is not great. So top line findings on the programming side of things. SML's broad-based free programs, which we mentioned in every single sentence, are highly valued by our patrons, with over 3 and 4 respondents rating them either very or extremely important, which I thought was pretty cool with a 5-point scale, that many people really thought they were super important to them. Adult and family programs were the most attended and also rated the highest in important. I think this is probably unsurprising, given that 58% of Stephentown's population is 45 or older, and a third is over 55. Facebook is the dominant source for learning about the programs, followed by our updated website and word of mouth. Programs are considered very convenient. Patrons prefer that they be scheduled on weekday evenings or weekend afternoons, which accounts for the bulk of our current programming. I just wondered about, I know Sundays is just not something we can do, but it kind of limits us with the weekend afternoon.
I mean, we can do it, it's just that. We're gonna be working.
Yeah, you're working, you're like, yeah.
Sundays.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. The online programs are largely viewed as excellent and easy to access. There are no issues there. In terms of adult family programming, the highest number of respondents provided ratings for the holiday themed activities and Live at the Library programs. And those that were the most favorably received were Live at the Library, which we find somewhat ironic because last year, like nobody came. But in theory, people like the idea of going and seeing this music.
They like the option.
Yeah, they like the option, and we really did kind of have a bit of overkill last year where it was every single weekend. And because now all these restaurants are opened up and have live music and people can go and drink and browse, and there was a lot of competition. And Birds of Prey was the other most favorably rated adult program. Verbatims most often mentioned music programs, nature programs, and crafts as favorites in the adult family programming category. For teen tween programming, the highest number rated teen nights, Lego Club, and summer reading, and the most favorably rated was teen nights. And verbatim responses also highlighted teen nights and nature-based programs as favorites for teens and tweens. And then for children, it was mainly Lego Club, summer reading, and holiday themed activities, with holiday themed activities garnering the most favorable ratings. Then moving on to the questions around programming facilities, specifically around how people feel about the space. While 62% of respondents saw our current space as adequate for the programs we offer, 38% felt our current facilities are not adequate. And when you look at the verbatims, they indicated that many felt the current space can feel cramped and impinges on FML's ability to accommodate popular programs like larger musical events comfortably. When asked for facilities improvement suggestions in general, a number of people mentioned the desire for an enhanced children's space. Yes. A larger, more comfortable community room, something we want to do as phase 3 of the master plan. More quiet reading nooks, which we're looking to do with this master plan as well, and improved outdoor meeting options, which we're also hoping to do as a second phase. Over 6 in 10 respondents indicated that they would be extremely interested in attending musical, theatrical, or larger programs at an SML outdoor pavilion if one were built.
Let's do a show.
And given the high level of interest in musical programming in general, this is no surprise. We also asked if people would be interested in actually performing at an outdoor pavilion, and that was a lot lower, which you would expect, but 15% said they would be strongly interested in doing it, and another 15% showed moderate interest. So it's not nothing.
I was driving past Nassau's library and they had an open mic night, which I thought was fascinating.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, they have an open mic, man.
Shall I look into that?
As I've been warned off by some people. Sorry.
Yeah.
It can be ugly.
It seems like even though, you know, the response rate was not great, but it seems like the responses correlate to what we see aside from the library here too. You know, what we see for attendance, so.
Yes, no, I think so. It seems to be accurate. Yeah. And, you know, I think there's a lot of information here that will be helpful for writing grants, because at least we have something quantifiable about what people are interested in, how they feel, and they really do find the programming to be important to them in the community. And there's lots of interesting open ends, which, you know, I'm not gonna go through anything else, but you can look through the report, and you know, I think the timing turned out to be
Yeah, very.
pretty good, yeah.
You know that a 10% response rate to something like this is.
Pretty typical.
It's not bad, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what's expected.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just that the number is so small,
Right.
right? That-
Right.
It's not the rate. The rate is, if you just said 10% to this type of survey. Yeah.
And that's all you have to say in a grant application.
Exactly.
If you did a survey,
Yeah.
we had 10% return
It's a
rate.
good point.
Yeah.
I'll say the numbers.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Well,
What is your email?
you might have to say to how many people the
I don't have that information.
survey went out to.
We could say like,
Email.
depending on the, I think you could probably say like the entire
The email
mailing
to
list or
the
every.
email saying,
You know,
oh,
yeah, you can make
You
it so that.
could.
Or like the email. for the
You
library,
could.
but
I think it
can't
would
do
just-
it on,
It wouldn't,
like a MailChimp.
it's not what.
Okay, yeah, well, that's how you do it, right?
Yeah.
There's
Like her.
not 40%, which they consider it.
Yeah, thank you for getting that
Yeah.
going and done and
Sure.
compiled and having it, like you say, at the right time.
Absolutely, that's it for me.
Okay. Strategic, any questions, comments? Strategic planning, and I did,
Yeah, thank you for making that copies done. So everybody has 3 feet.
sorry, I didn't hear you.
It would be interesting to get. To keep asking these questions to people, so at the new resident thing. If there was an opportunity for people to fill something out or direct them to something, what would you like to see? What would be program? I mean. Because I think this is what Sarah gathered is important information, and we could build on it.
I think it's a great idea, and I think, I don't know if we decided, I think we talked about this would be something that we would do on a regular basis. There's a previous survey that we did, the longer story.
I heard it was the whole community, it was in people's mailboxes, and we asked about all the other nonprofits in town as well as this one, and it was blind, so that we wanted to know unaided awareness, and it was also much more sophisticated with crosstabs and all that. It was
Right.
pain.
And that was something that, you know,
reports I wrote or something.
but yeah, that we weren't gonna be able to do that level of something regularly, but something like this because we do it free and because Sarah's can do that.
Can you just do this, so like, can you make this survey live again for like that day, like people could do it while they were here or?
Except for the new people wouldn't have had experience with the programs, but
We could do it.
we could change it to say what would be interesting.
Right, it would be interesting, yeah. So if you wanna hear for
Or I could have a follow.
the original email that I sent on May 4th for the survey for people, it was delivered to 528 emails. 318 were actually open. 198 people actually, it says open again, I'm not sure where, but 45 people actually clicked on the link
Well,
to do this.
so almost everybody that's on the link did it then.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
34.
that's impressive.
And the open rate's great.
Yeah,
The open.
yeah.
Actually, open is great. Anything about 30% is considered excellent.
Yeah. And actually for nonprofits, any open rate over 20% is considered.
Yeah, and then push it
Really
to
good.
30%, so that's what they use over there.
Right, yeah.
So I think I agree with you 20%.
So people in Massachusetts,
Oh,
just they open up.
Hey, we just completed the book sale. I'm being nice to them. I'm finishing the book sale for the next 3 months.
Yeah. Alright, so everybody's got the 3 sheets. What this is, Kim and I have been working on trying to take everything that the staff has been doing and fitting it into the strategic plan. So if you all have access to the actual Excel spreadsheet and you can click on all of these categories and read what the strategic plan says on the document, we obviously can't print all of that on here. Mostly to print it out and look at it is to see the visual of where there's a lot of activity and where there's not. And you know, to talk about if we need to do more in those areas, or if maybe when we are working on the next strategic plan, that these aren't our priorities. I don't know. And some of it might be that we're not capturing things board members are doing that are doing some of these things too. So we're going to try and get together and go through the minutes for the year and sort of pick out anything we've missed and put it into here. But mostly it's a tool for you guys to look at and be thinking about, one, what you're doing, and do you have things you want to add here? And two, as we start talking about next year, you know, are these things the most important things? And if they are, how do we want to, you know, I'm thinking like environmentally conscious and responsible, we're probably doing things we're not capturing.
Yeah, I thought that I had sent along, maybe I screwed it up, that we had voted in favor of that new Stephentown environmental group to be a supporter of that.
Okay,
Didn't see it?
No. Okay, all right, when did we?
That would be in June.
Yeah, it's been.
That was June,
It's June.
so.
Sarah, one of the things you did is you added things for months we haven't gotten to yet. So I just copied it and said planning, like you had said something about the new resident thing in,
Oh, that's coming up.
yeah,
right,
so I
right.
just put planning for it. In
Oh,
August,
yeah, I see,
you
okay.
know, getting ready for it,
Got
yeah,
it,
because
got
we
it,
haven't
yeah.
done anything actually in August yet.
Yeah.
Approved.
I mean, I think the just visually, it seems to be matching with my general impression of where our efforts are and where like. where we're
And so
heading.
that's good, like that's what it should, yeah, and. If it's useful to people, like if it's the direction we want to keep going in or whatever, we can figure that out. I would like to get it finished at least for this year and to see what a year looks like.
Right.
But do we want, and now we have it, I mean, Kim and I are able to do this pretty easily. So any feedback or whatever, one thing that that's in here different ways is, do we under see, under programming, under children's programming, do we want to know that this was held on Friday, February 17th, and this was held in February, or do we just want to know? And do we want to know that it was a lunar calendar program and a dungeon, or do we want to know there are 3 theme programs, so we could, you know, like how much detail some of this stuff. So right now, it's been kind of going in however we throw it in to see if, but stuff like that, we can,
I think just breaking it down, children programs, STEAM programs, adult program, or adult and then family.
Yeah.
programs.
and that, and we can make a square for each month that just has that, we just plunk in a number,
Right.
you know,
Right, that
so-
would be the most helpful. for
Yeah,
me, that
yeah.
would actually would be easier to see than having to read through all of it.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
all right, so those are the kinds of things that we can learn from this year's use of this and make it.
So the other thing though, was that it wouldn't be underneath children's programming, but there was no place, as I was going through this, I'm like. Where do I put adult programs? So I put a lot of adult programs and expanding programs
Yeah.
for life skills, but it's like, is that really a life skill? I mean.
So, and so what that speaks to is as we adjust our strategic plan, do we want to address? Do we want to make expand programs for life skills more adaptable to fit adult programming? Do we want to, you know, like, because it seems like it's important and we don't really have a good fit for it. So obviously it's something we want to do. So yeah, so those are the kinds of things that we can,
So that was found that interesting, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is good, shoot, where do I put it? So, you know,
And then like relationship with residents is where they put mahjong and D&D.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we were, you know, it's just like, where do you put it?
Exactly.
and that's like with the mahjong, it's like having that relationship where people come every week or, you know, whatever, you know, but is that really what we meant by
Right.
relationships, you know?
And
So,
and where this reflects back to the time spent, I mean, obviously, Kim, you spend a lot of time on planning the programs, I mean, mahjong is something one that's fine. But you have to spend a lot of time, so. If we don't think that belong, that seems crazy then, so obviously we do think that's important, we do think it's important, that kids spend time to do that. So, yeah, it is useful to think through this stuff this way.
so we'll try and meet sometime in time for the before the October meeting, we'll meet to get everything for the whole year in. And like go through and like if we can just, I know a couple people said they would do that, so we can just sit down and like somebody's reading through the minutes and saying, oh, did we put this in? And somebody else is like looking and going, oh, there it is, oh, we didn't do that. Someone else can be typing, so like 3 or 4 people, you just be like banging that out, like,
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
How do it?
So maybe 3 of us can go.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Figure out a time, maybe in September.
yeah, yeah,
That would work.
absolutely.
Yeah, and is this a strategic plan? Does this strategic plan cover? Year, 2 years, 3 years, how do you?
So this is, the strategic plan was sort of not, it predates me. And it didn't.
Your
actually-
existence, or you're being on the board?
No, but like, so it didn't, so I have like a different. Way, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it was more of a generic like plan that didn't have like this is a 5-year plan. So I kind of like, well, you need to have a 5-year plan and then you need to have a 1-year work plan for each year. There's like 2 different things. This is the work plan, you know, so last year we actually tweaked the strategic plan. I forget, it was about the veterans or something.
We barely. do.
Yeah.
But we had
but
proposals for some large.
Yeah, yes, so, yeah, there was a little whatever, but. Based on if we were doing this, like, what were we actually working on that thing, or is it? But yeah, so in another year or 2, we're just doing like a whole new strategic plan, yeah.
No, I need that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I love that.
That's, yeah, and then,
Yeah.
and when we do that,
Uh-huh.
we will be doing it with more intention that every year there's gonna be a work plan, if that's what the board
And
will
are
buy
there
into.
goals attached to it?
Yeah, so
I'm trying to remember, because I know that I've looked at something like that. but
Yeah,
it's a
so
lot.
So, yeah, so we have an Excel spreadsheet in the share drive. And on each one of the top where it says needs assessment, expand program for life, if you click on those, that's sort of like the goal. And then these are the activities that are reaching that.
Mhm. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All right, cool.
I love to,
I do too.
you know, but it's, and it's.
And look up for you.
I know, girl. No.
Okay, but in fairness, Shin, once you started to get this like this, isn't it sort of useful?
It's
Like,
very
isn't it-
useful.
And like, we're not even there yet, so like half,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
be honest, I have my doubts. I
yeah,
was like, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Give it a chance, we'll see how it goes, it's gonna be a ton of work, well, Kim's gonna help. And now when I can look at it and it's very visual and I can see, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of months we haven't done anything on policy, there's nothing to do, that definitely is, yeah. it's been-
and in
so-
fairness, I think there aren't as many months that we haven't done so because we just haven't gotten it in there yet.
Right.
Yeah, because the board working, you know, approving policies or whatever needs to go in there, that's the part we need to capture. And then, you know, in the new year.
Something to look forward to.
Oh,
I have actually more questions, so for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
So if anybody has anything they want to say or ask about, please do, but also if you know, if you look through this and think like, geez, I've been working really hard on this stuff that's not here, like send me an email, you know, we'll put it in. Yeah, and Jen and Sarah, thank you for doing that.
One thing I think you should add is that you've been having staff meetings, right? Under staff, wouldn't that be something that?
Absolutely.
Because that's pretty important.
Well, some places it's pretty important.
It's
Where I
been
work-
important.
Where I work, it's not deemed an important thing, so, but yes, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's about you.
And I know, yes, and extra kudos for Kim for that, because with the way that we staff the library. Like it's practically impossible to have a staff meeting, so nobody works the same
Yeah, that's-
day and.
exactly.
So it's.
Yeah, so it
really-
is pretty amazing.
I know it's a gulp even the next to get those.
And they don't even have ice cream staff.
Yeah, really.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
looking for cannoli.
Ah,
and ice cream.
Okay, all right.
And then the last time I couldn't go to this cannoli, so I went to give them.
Oh, nice.
From there, so I always get something
Okay.
to make a little bit more expensive.
Very nice.
It's usually in the morning, so.
Doesn't stop you with the kid.
I didn't think that kids weren't mine, but I do usually programs, like give them food, give them sweets. Give them
Oh, yeah.
in the fall.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I know I love it, people do that.
This is yours.
Does anybody have any questions now or anything?
Are you thinking about adding an adult program column?
Well, I can't just add an adult program column. This is the strategic plan.
Okay,
All right, so all of these things across the top, this is what the strategic plan says.
okay.
So I can't just add a column. But
That'll
we
be-
can
we
think
will
about,
when we revisit
yes,
this, right?
we can think
Plan.
about changing the strategic plan to do this when we do our next strategic plan. And in the meantime, figuring out where it fits in and making note of that. This is not a good
like
fit here, so.
like two relationships columns and like no adult.
Right, yeah, we're seeing our flaws in our strategic plan for this. so.
Which is what it's
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I wouldn't go so far as to call them flaws. What I would say
Okay,
is
these are
the
like-
strategic plan was not written for this second step.
Yeah.
All right, the whole idea of doing the strategic plan and then having a work plan and it all flowing wasn't what you guys were thinking when you did it. So they're not flaws. It's just that by doing it, you can see that the strategic plan can be more effective.
Awesome. So recruitment, our report is right here. Actually, we didn't, she just well here.
No, I think I recruited more.
Yeah, thanks, maybe. You're just really nice and funny, and I was having a good time.
Nice, so.
I know. And my husband had left the building for like 10 minutes and came back and.
Yeah. and it's-
That's what it's like, what happened?
It's her reminder that you're retired.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
That just means she had more free time. Trust me,
That's what.
it's amazing how you fill up free time.
Does anybody have any other leads at the moment? We'll hang our hat on the new resident and also, we're gonna see if we can get information on the expeditioners, see if anybody's get the gold cards and who might be engaged with the library.
That's a good idea.
That's done.
Yeah.
See what we can do with that. Okay, youth committee.
Camp, as Kim already mentioned, is going really well. We have 41 campers. We had two, I think I was wrong when I wrote this, but two staff members back out at the last minute, so we're short staffed. And they're making it work. Jessica brought up the concern that it might hurt our budget for next year, but it's been hard with the, we need that number of counselors going forward, so it's just, but they're making it work. Kids are having fun, my kids are having a blast. The food is much better. No one's hungry. We did get tax exempt refund
Yeah,
from
we saw that, that's great.
customing, so that's good. We
Sorry.
from customing, yeah. From the t-shirt, yeah, we had a tax exempt issue, but we got it figured out, so that's great, and we got a $200 donation from one of the families. So that, and we have some money in the budget, so we're gonna be getting a bounce house.
Oh,
Yeah, on the last day. Hopefully it's occurring to me that it's gonna be dry enough. Is it dry like over that way?
It's so cold.
Maybe we can set it up across the street.
I wonder if we could. I gotta tell them ASAP. Well, I don't know if it's ASAP.
We'd have to talk to the school.
Okay, let's, to whom?
The school, because the school owns that property across the street. So we have to ask them and they have to approve it. So if we do decide we want to do that, we should do it tomorrow.
Okay.
But it was, let's see, when did we had a bounce house last year, we had a bounce house the year before,
We didn't have one last year.
maybe it was the year before that, yeah. So it was wet year before, so we just put it out in that corner and
That's where I
I
told them.
think it's
Okay.
going to work, so.
So that'll be
fingers
fun.
crossed.
Yeah.
For the last day, I think.
Yeah. And swim lessons are going really well. There's 15 kids total doing swim lessons. It's at the Brigham Community Center in Pittsfield. Girls Inc. runs it, and the town pays for any kids that want to do it, up to 20.
Nice.
They are also understaffed, so it's a lot of kids, but they're seeming to figure it out, and the kids have fun, and it does tire them out. The key is to keep them awake on the drive back from Pittsfield, so that they don't take it. But they love it. They don't want it to be over, so it's been good. And I think that's it.
And when does camp end?
Camp ends on the 28th, so a week from tomorrow. Goodbye. Yeah, and we'll schedule our post camp wrap up. It's got, probably maybe after you get back. Okay, so as to not fill up your time. And I think it's going well. We have a new assistant director who was a former camper, and I think it's going okay. There's some growing pains of just learning how to be assertive and things like that. So, which I think is a good experience for her and for everybody. And so,
how old is she?
she's this senior, yeah, something like that in college. So
So that's.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pass along, I've heard several complimentary feedback about the camp, people,
Oh, good.
so like. wax.
Yeah.
Who have now been there for the state program, so, just very impressed, all positive things to say. Diana Clark too, same thing. So people seem to having, it's nice that some different people are getting a close personal view of that to see the positive.
Yeah.
It's also been positive in a negative way. They have personally witnessed and gotten their shoes muddy, I suppose, with mud. So at the town board meeting on Monday, where Kim and I were, I raised the issue with the town board that we need to discuss this with them, that, you know, we kind of got complacent because, last year it was, we were dry again, so, okay, let's not get about. But we can't continue to have camp like this, and, they heard it there, but then I think seeing it today really made an impact, and it's like,
This is what.
this is
Okay.
not acceptable. So, I suggested that perhaps after, like when we do a wrap up with them, we can perhaps meet with them, maybe at a workshop meeting or something, just kind of talk through what we can do about this. And, you know, this is a problem that we wouldn't necessarily have to solve if we didn't have camp, so it's really not, to me, it's not a problem that we need to take on our shoulders alone. So it's only because we host camp that these are things that we care about, so.
Right, and I mean, if we did decide to start using the backyard, I think it would be different, but.
Right. That's not ever gonna be like number one on our list, okay, that's a programs, you know.
I mean, it's been wet in the past, but not like this, not with rivers running.
Right, but now 2 out of 3 years, last 3 years.
Did they come specifically to tour camp to see what? it
No,
was?
they were with the safety program, so Diana and Henry were chairs of that this year. So
I'll take some videos as well.
I'll take some pictures of Campbell when he comes home because he is not afraid of mud or water. And
I mean, a lot of kids love it, but it's also standing water, so it's.
It's gonna,
It's pretty
that's
disgusting.
yeah.
And there are kids who hate it.
Oh, yeah, June, stage clear.
I know.
I know.
All of us, you know, love more dirty bikes came home and had more filler, more fun, so. They came home from my year camp with like literally blood all over their faces.
I mean, if you're interested in ameliorating the mud, that's hard to say. But and creating like a play space, even what you talked about, as you know, a
Pavilion.
deck, a pavilion, there are grants for that. Absolutely. Walmart, community grants. Yes, Lowe's. Hardware. I mean, it's something to explore. Yeah.
I've always wanted, and that's another community thing people have always said is they would love, because we used to have a playground across the street.
Mhm.
That's not there anymore, and so a lot of families have been like. We don't have a playground in Stephentown, and.
There's a lot of government money for playgrounds too, so that's
But they
something.
have, like, the insurance aspect of it, because that becomes a lot.
No, yeah,
So if that's why, you know, I haven't really pursued it, so.
because of that.
We saw that Wild, whatever it's called, Farms has a.
I mean, I don't have any money.
And there's also a very large one in Shatter Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that used to be here.
Oh.
I was bitter about that one.
And I stepped on a landmine, I didn't know.
It was alright.
That was New Lebanon people.
I know.
So apologies, all right, I'm not doing well with the time management tonight.
That's okay.
I
We,
blame-
I'm not either, but we are done with youth committee. Sure.
Good job, by the way, on the camp.
Oh,
Good job.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've really done anything, so it's all inherited, but the kids are happy, so that's what's important.
Okay, so old business, we talked about QuickBooks, so it's the bylaw review, unfortunately, or fortunately, really. It spawned a bit of a larger, it's not gonna be a 5 minute discussion, and we're probably gonna have to do some homework and come back to the next meeting with some decisions, because there's a lot of material. But some people thought about it because she went with Tim.
So I met with Tim and we had a very partnership at Upper Hudson Library.
Okay.
So he's the executive director out there and we looked through all the bylaws for us. And I came back with lots and lots of notes. So what I did is put it into our old regular bylaws. You see all of the yellow, everything that's highlighted in yellow is what has been recommended to put in. If it's got a parentheses around it, that's the reasoning. So we just like in the first thing, so the purpose, we have a whole strength purpose, but Tim's suggestion was to replace the purpose with our mission statement as it ties our foundations together instead of having a mission statement and then a second purpose for the library. They're the same thing. They should be the same thing. So all of the stuff, I crossed out the things that need to be, changed. There's some things that are just little. There's a lot of stuff that definitely needed to be added. And some of that stuff was added just off of in the New York State Library Trustees Handbook. They have a very nice template that you can look at too. So I just pulled a couple of things from there, like the descriptions of the officers. So I don't know if you want to go through all of this stuff, if you want to just read through it, we can talk about it next meeting, or, but there are definitely some things in here, such as like right now our bylaws say that anyone 16 years of age or older can be a member of the library. We get library cards out to 6 months old. So that doesn't apply to us anymore. That's completely antiquated for us. So with the suggestion, membership is made up of registered borrowers. Then the other thing, all members are eligible to vote. Well, if we're changing that, we can't let babies vote. So do we make it voting age? So that was the question for that one. Do we want to put it in there? And some things like just changing some of the wording, managed and directed, overseen was the better one. And then, we need to have the eligibility, ensuring, so there's just a lot of words, and I don't know if you guys want to go through all of this right now, or if you want to go through it, read through it, let me know what you think, and then we can go from there and make decisions at our next meeting, or we can come up with a committee, make all their recommendations.
I think that's the best way
Yeah.
of doing this, because it seems like that's how things get done, is in a smaller group.
Right.
So-
Governance committee
Yeah.
is what it would be. Yeah.
So it would have to be.
So what does this say about how committees get formed?
You are the appointees. Oh, you're the appointer. You appoint committees and you also.
We got it fantastically right now.
And this would be an ad hoc committee just to do
Just to do
this.
this.
Yeah.
I would do that too.
Okay, good. So Sarah and Kim.
Great. Anybody else can meet and talk about this before the next meeting?
Guys, we need to do this more efficiently.
So wait, Scott's not gonna be at the next meeting. Right,
No, and Kim's not gonna be.
And I will be here at the next meeting.
so
Oh,
we
Just
should,
for September.
Yeah, I would,
And I know one of the things that you mentioned to me is, you pointed out was making sure that that our quorum has to be based on our total numbers. Which I think we have done, which is 5, so I think that we have done that even if it's got,
but not in our bylaws.
right,
Right.
so.
It's 5. Is the bar. So, right, and then the other thing that we have in our bylaws that was a big no, that was very important, and was that the executive committee is supposed to be made up of, it says in the bylaws, the four officers plus 1 non-officer, which makes that 5 people, and we cannot have the executive committee be a quorum, which is how it is in our bylaws right now. Because if it's a quorum, then it's subject to open meeting laws, and then that committee can act on behalf of the entire.
So it should just be the 4.
It should just be the 4. Yeah. So that was a big, like, oh, that needs to get changed, so. Oh, yeah.
And then that spurred discussion of policies.
Well, I'm just finally decided we need to do this, especially because policies. We don't have really very good organized and set policy systems at all. And there are certain ones that we have to have and we don't. There are some that we are update. We have sexual harassment policy. This was voted on back in 22. Those are fine. Conflict of interest, that was voted on in 19. That one's good. But things like the collection development policy is in our employee handbook. But it's not an actual policy that has ever been voted on, even though the handbook was voted on, but it's the employee handbook is meant for employees, it's not meant for the public. So I went through, and right now, there are problems with people, for consideration of materials. There's been a lot of things where people are, libraries are having books or other materials challenged. So we need to have this, has to happen. So Upper Hudson has a great shared drive that they share with us that has a bunch of different policies on this one thing. So I took them and I just made them so that they were applicable to us. So I have the newest ones. I've got collection development, material reconsideration policy, and then I put together the form that someone would fill out if they are wanting to have something reconsidered or if they're challenging something. So those definitely need to be looked at and figured out whether they're, I mean, I don't know if Scott, as your law legal eyes would want to look through them, or if you want to just, I mean, they're done by Upper Hudson, so I don't know if they, I'm just assuming that they've been pulling them from Albany and other libraries as well, so. Okay. But those definitely need to be.
I mean, I've heard a lot of policies from them, some of them are fine, but.
Right.
They're all workable, it's not like.
Yeah, well, I was also gonna, I have started to tackle the internet use policy that we have worked with Sandy on. So that's gonna need to be done, but I'm just planning on going through and getting all of these finished, like these just, they have to be done. So I'm gonna give them, I'm gonna put them together and I'm gonna hand them to you guys so you can decide what to do. So.
And I think going back to what we had started to talk about on the policy stuff, which was to, you know, start to, okay, maybe there's 2 policies a month that we write, so that we have time to, you know, review it. We just kind of keep it on a pattern like that.
Which is probably all I can actually carry at the same time anyway.
I mean, good, if there are a lot of good people giving this a lot of thought, there are a lot of good ones. You need to make them system. To the extent that we have it, we can take a look at it, see how it fits, and just.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not sitting here trying to rewrite anything. And the way I look at it, if Albany has policies on their books, they've had someone vet them, they've had, you know, the bigger libraries are the ones that you have to use. And then Upper Hudson has plenty of resources. In New York State Trustees that have plenty of resources. ALA has resources. I mean, so they're everywhere. So, but for this one, I figured let's get the challenge and request to development policy. I can start our plan. So, we'll have a copy of it now.
So again, with that, do we want to target September?
Yeah, I guess we should.
Yeah, I mean, that's all do.
So we've got.
So in September, we'll adopt the material reconsideration and the collection development policies.
Yes. In the meantime, if anyone has any comments or questions or thoughts about any of them, send them over to me and I can maybe put them out to the board as an email, or you know, maybe that way we can. Or I can just actually do the same thing I'm doing with the bylaws and send everybody the document with it, whatever changes are going on. So, so do you want the actual document? like the electronic version is.
Thank you, Kim, for doing this and getting this going again. I think it's been on the agenda for maybe 3 years now. Thank you, but yeah, it's kind of hard thing. Sorry. Okay. All right, I'm sorry, we're a few minutes over, but we're coming to the end. Call for public comment. Is there any public comment? We have a member of the public, they're paged.
I'll wait till you vote. Just kidding.
So new business, so why don't we actually do that with the new business? So before you leave though, I just wanna, because I don't think we actually talked about the terms at all when I talked to you, so
Mhm.
I'll just tell you what the term. So
By term, she means the length of time you serve.
No,
Yeah.
that sounds a little scary to me.
Like we have a contract here.
Yeah.
So the position that you would be, the open position that you would be filling, so it's open now, so you would be completing a term that ends in 2025.
Mhm.
And then at that point, you would be eligible for 2 of your own full terms, 4 years. Eligible.
No, I understand. So I'm filling a
Filling
vacant,
an
an
open-
open that
Yes.
was vacated. So do you have a? Really? Big-
Our term 121 to 25.
So it's a 4-year term.
Right.
They begin though in April or May, because you're voted in officially at the annual meeting. So, but then when somebody leaves the board, someone needs to fill in that term. So the new person will then fill in that term, fill out the rest of their term, and then start their own.
Never. 35 years working with boards. I have never encountered this. That's why.
It makes it extremely complicated.
It is
for tracking.
extremely
That's why
hard.
we're all like, I don't.
And is that dictated by whom?
Bylaws.
So let's talk about this and we talk about the
You
bylaws.
should- It does.
It's just
It,
they're trying to tier the systems so that all the board members don't.
Leave it once. They did a reset basically and made it so that everybody basically looking to have 3 people per year, so it wasn't like everybody turned out at the same time, which was happening.
well, I'll accept the terms. Handsome question. And I'm sorry, you go ahead.
No, so I just wanted you to understand, 'cause we didn't talk about that.
And
Clearly it's good because it's a lot.
wow, I've just never encountered that.
You're welcome for the new experience.
I'm open to the new experience. And do you meet how many times a year?
Once a month.
Once a month,
Yeah, every third Thursday.
okay,
Unless you're my calendar, then it's the second.
okay.
Then she freaks everybody out next
I'm
thing.
like, oh my God, I'm not gonna do it. Oh my God, I can get my stuff in. Oh, geez, no, everyone's like, all the meetings next week.
So, well, I don't think we did it before, but Deborah's already spoke to me about our improper methods here, so well, after you step out, we'll vote and.
You're supposed to, I mean, whenever there's a vote, you must have seen this too, right? People step out of the room.
Yeah.
Just in case my feelings get hurt. Okay, so there you go.
We don't even have any lights on for you out there.
I'll just go sit in the corner. in the dark. Okay.
Let's hope there's a mouse out there.
What?
Now we got scared.
We just got our meerkat report, we're good.
Lights should be right, yeah, there you go.
There you
Okay, so, I guess we make a motion, second it, any discussion, and then,
I make a motion to accept that as board member.
okay.
I second.
In the minutes, we'll make it official, I'll send you the seat number, or whatever. Okay, so. There, I'll send you the seat number and.
Oh, yes.
That's,
Very good.
go. No wings.
yeah,
So what is it, C3?
seat 3.
Do we all have seat numbers?
Yes,
What's my seat number?
your seat number is 4.
I'm a treasurer, so I don't have a seat.
You have a seat number, yeah, you're 2. Okay, all in favor? Your term expires in 28. Cause you just got it. No, wait, that's
No, he's filling in.
24.
And you're filling in, so you're.
Yeah.
You're filling in ends on 24, and then you're up for your 2.
It really is.
It's never explained.
Yeah, well, you didn't ask any questions.
Salary. That's fine, I didn't know problem, I just, okay, but all this, but, I talking about it.
I explained to Deborah, we're a little casual here. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, Deborah, you can pop up. Usually.
I might have approved them. Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, here it is. Okay, come on back in.
Yay.
Sorry.
bad news.
Yeah.
You're now on the board.
I'm excited. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you.
Here.
It's past my bedtime already. Yeah.
Me too.
We had no
Right.
correspondence, so we can make a motion to adjourn and as long as nobody has any hands. All right, sorry for not doing it. I didn't even like look at you, all right, so I knew we were just
Well,
going.
we're pretty good. We're only like 7 minutes over.
All right.
Yeah, that's really good.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Okay. I'll second. Okay, all in favor? Good night.
So I would like to, not now, but like, who are you?
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, you know,
I worked in the state, general counsel.
It's very interesting stories.
okay, I'd like to hear
Ask
them.
about the foie gras.
I've been, we had a roller. I thought I would share this. Interesting.